What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is season 14, part 2 of the reunion. And I'ma just say this, y'all. I was bored. like like excruciatingly bored. I don't know. I think I expected, because of all the fodder that was around what we were supposed to see, or Garcelle leaving. I guess I expected the reunion to be explosive, and I was like, how is part one better than part two? I told y'all, if you gonna give us a 3-part reunion, the parts need to outdo each other. Part one is should be a good episode, but part two should be better than part one, and part three should be better than part two and one. And this was a drag, a complete drag. Okay, but let's get into it. So, y'all know sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And I just got a few things I want to talk to y'all about. So, let's talk about it. So let's talk about Erica Jane first, because when I tell you that's a fraudulent lady right there, that's a fraudulent lady right there. Okay, she don't know how to give nobody credit for their work. Nobody, bro. So y'all know last episode I felt some type of way about Erica calling, I think his name, I'm gonna butcher it, Valendiran Shahadi, not giving him his credit for the beautiful dress that she had on. Well, it looks like she did it again, but to a music artist that she was working with. So in part one, Andy was giving Erica her props for being in a song that was featured in the movie Honora, and I think Honora won Best Picture. At the Oscars. I'm not sure, but I do know the lead actress won an Oscar for her performance. Well, an artist by the name of Brooke Candy is calling Erica out for not giving her her props for that song. So let's talk about it. So there's a People magazine article. I'm going to read it for you guys. The link will be in the description box below. If you are interested in hearing from Brooke's mouth, they also have the TikToks attached to the People magazine article. So check it out. So it starts off like this. It says Brooke Candy slams Erica Jane for taking credit for their song featured in Honora, Rude and Delusional. It goes on to say, you could have taken the moment and given me my flowers, says Candy after Jane spoke about their collaboration on the latest RHOBH reunion. It says, Brooke Candy would like some credit from Erica Jane. After the rapper slash singer song Dip featuring Jane was used in Oscar winning Honora, which earned Best Picture at the year's Academy Awards, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star spoke about the track on the reality series' latest reunion special and didn't mention her collaborator. Now Candy is speaking out. During part one of the reunion, which aired April 1st, Housewives producer Andy Cohen told Jane, we couldn't believe our ears when we heard your song Dip in the movie Honora. Jane 53 responded by saying, thank you. I'm featured on the song and the movie won Palladoma and now it's up for Best Picture. It's wild, right? Days later, Candy 35 shared her thoughts on TikTok. Girl, why would you not have used that moment to give me my flowers? I put you on the song, said performer who released Dip on her 2019 album Sexorism. That's a choice of a name. She goes on to say, so then you decide to, instead of just saying my name and giving me a little bit of credit for my song that features you, you decide to just say, oh, I'm just featured. You could have taken the moment to give me my flowers and you didn't. And I think that says a lot about you. She continued. In the follow up video shared to the platform, Candy revealed another reason she has a problem with Jane promotion of Dip in the wake of its inclusion in Honora. She had a private screening of Honora. She didn't invite me, said Candy of Jane, referencing the expensive singer's November the 2024 screening at the AMC Theater at the Grove in Los Angeles. Candy claimed Jane used the screening as an opportunity to promote herself, and later posted about the event on Instagram without mentioning her. How could I not have a problem? Like, she didn't tag me. That's my song. She literally is taking credit for my song. Like, you don't do that to it. You don't do that as an artist. That's why she's not an artist. She doesn't get it. But you don't do that. It's rude. It's rude. It's delusional. It's wrong. You can't do that. Added Candy, alleging Jane didn't even write her part of the song. She then shared a screenshot of the text conversation with Jane about the Instagram post. I saw your post on Instagram and it looks great. Congrats on the screening. Would have mind tagging me in the caption. I worked hard on the song and the video with a great group of artists, and I also negotiated with the film crew to put the song in the movie, wrote Candy. Alongside a heart, Jane replied, done. The Instagram post in question, marked as edit on the platform, currently reads, thank you at Neo Rated for inviting me to host a special screening of Honora featuring the song Dip with myself and at Brooke Candy. According to the screenshot, Candy then wrote to Jane, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Getting credit for a highly visible post is always great. In Candy's TikTok, she added, even after all of that, I still texted her with empathy and grace. At the end of the clip, she declared, I rather have worked with Countess Luann of Housewives fame. In the response to the TikTok, which each amassed over 2 million views, comedian Margaret Troy spoke out in support of Candy. Erica Jane, you really missed out. She said in her post on social media. She said, first of all, Brooke Candy is a legit genius. Like, Brooke Candy is such an amazing artist. Continue the Fire Island actress. I mean, you got featured on one of her tracks in Honora, which is incredible, but also an incredible song. I love Brooke Candy and I'm just disappointed, said 56. When you work with an artist, you have to give it up to the songwriter. So I don't think it was wrong for Candy or Miss Brooke Candy to come out and voice her opinions and her frustrations with Erica, because I might have been able to give Erica a pass in the beginning when she said what she said, but now knowing that, girl, you had a private screening and you didn't invite her, it's starting to feel like you're intentionally leaving her out. When, like Margaret Cho said, and like Brooke said, girl, I asked you to be on the song. So, like, at the end of the day, that is her song, and you should give credit where credit is due. I see, y'all got to stop working with Erica. So, let's continue with Erica. So, y'all know in the last Spicy Corner, we talked about Erica's lawsuits. She has 3 lawsuits she's currently up against right now. She's being sued for $24 million by one of Tom's ex bankruptcy trustees. There's also, she's in a legal battle with the design team Marco Marco. One of the guys is suing her in Florida for $300,000, and the other guy is suing her in LA for $900,000. And like I said, I hope both of them men get everything and then some from Erica, because she screwed up their lives. Okay. Well, there's been an update to the $300,000 case that's in Florida. Now, I put the link in the description box below to the Reality Blurb article. I'm not going to read it, but I'm just going to read the excerpt that No Smoke No More posted. So let's get into it. It says Erica Jane missed a court hearing concerning a $300,000 lawsuit against her regarding the Marco Marco case, and her lawyer, Jim Wilkins, took responsibility for missing the hearing, saying it was a clerical error. Add that Erica is dealing with a lot right now. Erica's dealing with a lot of stress. She got a close friend, Telly Mellencamp, that she's done the internet podcast with, who got an incredible, difficult health issue. That being very difficult for Erica. If this is how my lawyer speaks, I would be concerned. It continues on because, like, I know I'm country and I know I may fumble and butcher words, but I know enough to know that, like, if I'm giving like a press statement, it's going to be grammatically correct, okay? But it goes on to say, then Erica's lawyer briefly commented on the $24 million lawsuit filed against Erica by the bankruptcy trustee, saying, I'm stunned at how Erica has gotten through this depression of it. It's astonished me that she's done such a great job. Erica is good people. Hashtag RHOBH. Credit to Reality Blurb. So here's the thing. I'm not going to discredit Erica's feelings. And the reason why I say that is because it probably is very stressful that, your friend is dealing with cancer. You don't know what's going to happen next. So I don't know how that feels, and I hope to never know how that feels because I've never had to deal with losing a loved one to cancer, other diseases, but not cancer. But what I will say is, I don't think it's fair for Erica to use that as a crutch. And the reason why I say that is because, well, girl, you have been dealing with this Marco situation since 2021, because the Housewife and the Hustler, I looked up when it premiered in 2021, and in that documentary they were talking about the Marco situation. So it's like, we didn't even know, you didn't even know Teddy had brain cancer by that time. So why are you not on your P's and Q's? What's up with that? What's up with that, ma'am? Like, why did you not get a lawyer that is ready to help you? Because it's definitely looking like they about to garnish your wages. You are about to have to work at Bravo until you turn at least 60. So let's move on and talk about Miss Kyle. So it looks like Garcelle blocked Kyle, or has her, I think she blocked that lady, to be honest. Or if she didn't block her, she definitely has her in her phone, don't answer. So this was posted by No Smoke No More. They got an excerpt from E! News, and if I can find the link to the article, I'll put it in the description box below. But I'm just going to read their excerpt, and it says this. It says, E! News, Kyle exclusively told E! News that her efforts to get in contact with Garcelle Bouvier, who announced her departure from the show, have been unsuccessful. Garcelle hasn't replied to any of my texts. During April 1st, at the first episode of season 1 reunion, Garcelle 58 took heat from the number of castmates, including Kyle 56, who criticized that Garcelle for repeatedly raising questions about her friendship with country singer Morgan Wade. But despite her confrontation, Kyle only had positive things to say about Garcelle. It's unfortunate she left, but I do wish her the best, Kyle told E. I think she'll always do well, so I'm not worried about her next chapter. I said, girl, that lady do not want to talk to you. Garcelle said, girl, I don't have to act like I like y'all no more. Y'all don't got to act like y'all like me. Let's just move on. So another thing I want to talk to as it pertains to Kyle, this is also with Erica. So Kyle the other day posted a picture of her and a couple of girlfriends. And the caption goes, "Cozy night and wearing our pajamas, perfect way to celebrate. Gently apart." Who's an amazing friend to all, and of course had to include the talented at WYLD West. To our ladies only night, we love our new tattoos, a perfect match. YOLO. Kyle, you're so old. Because don't nobody say YOLO no more. But I love when people of a certain generation, you know, what's the word? You date yourself. I think it's cute. But we see Teddy getting a tattoo, and then we also see that the tattoo is like these matches on fire. Must be like an inside joke. And the reason why I'm bringing this to y'all, because it's interesting to me that in this picture, of course, there's Teddy. We see Faye Resnick, the morally corrupt Faye Resnick, and then we see Erica and just their other friends. And I was just like, ooh, this just lets me know that Erica's always going to be more loyal to Kyle than she ever is going to be to Dorit. And I am interested to see how that dynamic plays out next season, because I think Dorit thinks Erica is truly on her side. But I'm like, girl, Erica is playing both sides of the fence, but she's leaning more towards Kyle's side. I also feel like Kyle posted this after Tuesday's episode because she wanted to be like, I am a girl's girl. Okay. I am that. Look at my female friends. It's like, okay, girl, we get it. You have women friends. So the last person we're going to talk about is Dorit. I don't know how much of the things that Dorit says that we can trust, because in one breath she's like, her and PK don't speak, but then in another breath PK tells me everything. But the way that PK acts online, it's more like he don't really talk to that lady or see it for her, and he definitely wants a divorce, because he posted this on his Insta story. He says, it's better to admit you walk through the wrong door than to spend your life in the wrong room. And a lot of people felt like he was taking a shot at Dorit, and that could be true. It it could not be true, but it kind of does give that he's shading her because he posted this right after the reunion. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, it is given that you shading your soon to be ex-wife, but I don't think he's wrong for the statement. He might be the wrong messenger, but his statement is valid. It is better for you to admit that you walked through the wrong door than to spend the rest of your life just sitting in that room or waiting for it to get better. Admit that you're wrong, open up that door and walk out. But continuing with Dorit, there's this blind item going around saying that supposedly she and Zac Efron's brother Dylan Efron are in a relationship. I don't know how much I believe that, y'all. But this was posted by Bravo Snarkside. This blind item was going around back in 2024. And then in January of 2025, they revealed that it was about Dorit. But I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. It says this snack housewife has a new guy who is super rich but wants nothing to do with any cameras and has insisted that housewife not talk about him. Will she quit the show? I don't know, y'all. And then I guess to show proof that it's about Dorit, they have her commenting under one of his pictures where he's like shirtless with abs, and she said, "It's the proud look on your face for me. Oh, and the abs are also." And then she has fire emojis. Then he responds to her saying, "Still proud of you for getting 100% on the ab quiz." I mean, they're definitely flirting, but I don't see him with a Dorit. I'm not saying Dorit is ugly, but I'm like, how old is Dylan Efron? Because Dorit Dorit is 48 years old, and Dylan Efron Dylan is 33. I don't really see him liking the Cougars. I don't know. I see him honestly dating somebody from like Vanderpump Rules that's around his age, or somebody from Summer House, or even that new show that's coming out next up that has like all the kids from Housewife on it. Well, majority like Gia, Riley, Brooks and his sister, and a few notable people that are like in their late 20s, early 30s. Like, I don't know. I don't see them dating. But I definitely could see him not wanting to be mentioned on Housewives because it's messy. And he just found like new fame. So I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if he would want to get in the waters with Dorit, especially with PK, and then how Housewives is. I would understand him not wanting his name to be mentioned if they are dating. But I don't really see the chemistry. But that's just me. But let's get into this review. So let's talk about it. So, like I said, I was bored. And I think I was mainly bored because I got tired of the back and forth between Kyle and Dorit. I already told y'all when I was reviewing the show throughout the season that Kyle and Dorit the verses between them got really stale really quickly. I also feel like Kyle was lying and deflecting, and Dorit was just being overly obnoxious. Like, she would get the answer she wanted from the ladies, but then she would kept like driving it home, and it's like, girl, you're kind of confirming what PK said about you not knowing when to like stop. Like, you got the answer you wanted. The girls end up admitting that, like, yeah, I did wrong, but you don't know how to shut up and move on. And that got old to me really quickly. But let's talk about it, because y'all know I be reading, so we might be here for an hour, but let's hope not, okay? So the episode opens up. We see Jennifer Tilly and Kathy get there. I thought it was funny that Kathy has the same hairdresser, and it's the same man that was calling Dorit out about not paying him, and the whole Chrissy Tudor versus Dorit situation happened. I looked at him and I said, "Oh my God, that is that man named Chris who do the hair." I said, "No wonder he told Dorit, girl, give me my money. I work for Kathy Hilton. My payments come out on time, so you can do the same." you know. And then we see Jennifer Tilly. They had maple donuts in her room. And all I can think about is the maple donuts at Walmart. I know Walmart is ghetto, but when I tell you they employ bakers at Walmart, I don't know like whose hands is making the donuts at Walmart, or the glaze, but the way my Walmart be sitting with them maple donuts, and they come in like a packet of two, delicious. Put them in the microwave for like 5 seconds to 8 seconds. Delicioso. Okay, they're delicious. And get you a cup of tea, hot tea. Oh, Good morning, okay? That's a good meal in the morning. So the girls are still on break. We see Sutton and Garcelle still in Garcelle's dressing room talking. Sutton was like, she didn't realize that Kyle was this mad. Like, she was actually kind of surprised by it. And Garcelle was like, yeah, me too. And then they flash back to when Kyle called them mean girls, which is like the nerve, girl, the audacity of you to ever call anybody a mean girl when, girl, you have needed people to stand behind you. You've always needed a clique to like push you to be mean to people. Like, you've always had your sister there to back you up to be mean. You've always like you have employed mean girl tactics like since your first season, girl, with the way you did Kim. Like, you like, what are you talking about, Kyle? I was just like, girl, shut up. So they laugh because Sutton ends up saying, can we go home? And Garcelle had like the cutest laugh. Like, her face, she just looks so adorable to me. I said, oh my God, you're so cute. So then we see the girls get on stage. Garcelle says something to one of the PAs being like, do I look annoyed? I said, yeah, girl, it's all up in your body language, okay? But they sit down and you hear Garcelle tell Sutton, say whatever you got to say now, so they can't come back at you. And it reminded me of what Wendy said to Stacey on Real Housewives of Potomac's reunion, where she was like, girl, say what you need to say now, like, or forever hold your peace. Because like, if you try to come throughout the season and say something, they're probably going to say like, you're lying. So if you got the tea or the receipts, say what you need to say. So I feel like that's what Garcelle was telling Sutton. So they start off the reunion again, and Andy lets it be known that I guess Garcelle spoke to somebody saying that she still wants to talk to Kyle about what happened in part one, where she makes it known that Kyle came and spoke to her off camera. So Garcelle's like, yeah, I still have something to say, because Andy's like, do you have something to say? She was like, yeah. And she's just kind of like, Kyle, I want to understand why you wanted to talk to me off camera, because to me it felt like you were only wanting to talk to me to shut me up about the whole Morgan of it all. So then Kyle was like, no, I came to speak to you because we're friends, okay? And I wanted to connect with you deeper. And I was looking at Kyle like, girl, you're so full of it. You're so full of it. And it was interesting while the argument, or not argument, the conversation between Garcelle and Kyle was going back and forth. Dorit's body language and her facial expressions were very much like, girl, that's your MO. That's what you normally do. Because Dorit made a face where she was like, and then she kind of nodded her head a couple of times where she was just like, yeah. And I told y'all, even though Dorit got on my nerves last season, you could go look at those reviews. I thought it was messed up the way that Kyle was treating Dorit about their friendship, as well as I felt like it was shisty and very calculated of her to reach out to Dorit days or maybe the day before the reunion to want to have a sit down with the lady, giving her like a paragraph text about this long, about friendship and love and all of that stuff. But then the whole entire season, you was playing that lady to the left. And it definitely gives, like, that's what Kyle likes to do. Like, when she wants to make sure she's cool with you or she don't want you to say nothing, she likes to meet up with you off camera to pretty much get you to shut up. So I think Garcelle's feelings were valid in this moment to be like, girl, it felt like you was just trying to get me to shut up about Morgan. So then Kyle's like, no, I wanted to connect with you on a deeper level. Why didn't you want to connect with her on a deeper level throughout the season? Like, she was definitely trying to get there with you and you just wasn't trying to give it to her. So Garcelle just said, okay, Kyle. And it was very much like, okay, girl, whatever, because we're not getting nowhere. And I don't believe you. And I feel like you lying. That's the energy Garcelle was giving her. So then Andy ends up saying, do you feel a certain type of way because she was talking to you about Morgan? And Garcelle was pretty much like, yeah. And so they do a flashback to the Surrealist party where Kyle basically says she doesn't want to speak on anyone's behalf. Like, basically, she don't want to talk for Morgan. So she's not going to bring her up. So then Kyle basically say, I'm not going to say anything that's going to affect my daughter's lives, like in a negative way. And you hear Erica being like, as you should. She was like, I don't care about what the network has to say, what the TV show or the fans have to say. I'm not going to hurt somebody I love. And it's interesting that you would say that when we've seen you do it countless times, especially to your sisters. Like, you did it to Kim the first couple of seasons y'all were on together. And even though I felt like Lisa Rinna was telling the truth about Kathy, you pretty much were standing behind Lisa Rinna. Like, you did not check that lady about your sister. So it just feels like, girl, what you're saying, you're full of it. You're so full of it, Kyle. So then Bose jumps in and she was like, what's wrong with you just saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about this person and just that. She said the issue comes into you constantly saying, oh, I'm sharing this and I'm sharing that. And I actually agree with Bose. Like, girl, just say, I'm not going to speak about her. I'm not going to bring her up. She asked me not to and I don't want to and I don't feel comfortable doing so. But constantly saying, but I'm sharing so much with you when you're not, is like, it's a contradiction. And then that's when people be like, no, but you are going to share because you haven't really been sharing anything. Like, what we doing here? So then Kyle was just like, I've been very open about my life, and a lot of people have just been real closed mouth. And I said, in what way have you been open about your life this season? Like, for real, for real. Like, again, all you gave us this season, Kyle, was tears and loneliness. Like, that can only take you but so far. And then you still haven't really told us how Mauricio broke your trust. Girl, what? The conversation shifts and we have a back and forth with Dorit and Kyle, where Andy ends up asking Dorit, so do you still feel the same way you do about Kyle having a different set of rules for you and everybody else that she doesn't have for herself? And Dorit is like, yeah, I do. So then Kyle is like, well, I think you have the same set of like the same thing you do to me that you're saying that I do to you. Like, look at Erica. Because Dorit is like, how? And she's like, look at Erica. Erica could do whatever and you let it slide. And so Erica's just sitting there like, honestly, y'all, I had PTSD. I was just hoping that didn't nobody come to my dressing room with a text message. That's all I was hoping for. And so they show a flashback of this situation that happened last season with the text messages and Dorit going to Erica's dressing room or having Erica come to her dressing room and showing her the text messages and asking Erica, like, how would you feel if someone texted you this before the reunion? And Erica saying, I would feel manipulated. I would feel manipulated. And so Dorit ends up saying the only reason why I brought up those text messages is because at this point you kept saying that I was exaggerating our friendship, and that was like the lowest of the low. Dorit needs a new phrase. Not everything that is said to you is the lowest of the low. Like, this whole entire reunion let me know how sensitive and how weak of a cast this is, because I'm just thinking about the way the girls carry on the other franchises. You know what I'm saying? Like, put this into context, and I'm not even going to put Potomac or Atlanta into this. I'm thinking about the white franchises. The way the old cast of Real Housewives of New York used to cut deep, the way Dorinda was calling girls whores and sluts, and the way that they was calling each other ugly. Oh, see, the way that Kelly Dodd was body shaming Shannon. One of my favorite scenes. This ain't even my plate. When they was at the Quiet Lady, like, the way the girls on SLC be talking to each other crazy. Like, if you think about it, even New Jersey, they get nasty with each other. Margaret called Jennifer Aiden like a mail order bride. And Jennifer Aiden told somebody, tell your husband to pick his titties up, and the man got a medical condition. Like, when I tell you the other girls carry, you can tell that this is a weak franchise when you put it amongst the white franchises, and we definitely know compared to the black ones, they weak. Like, it's just kind of like, wow. I know for a fact they couldn't, and Latin ones, because that's what I consider Miami. The black and Latin franchises, they wouldn't survive. They wouldn't. And you think about it, like, we used to have people who could go there on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kim Richards, Brandy Glanville, Carlton used to give, she was one season, but she gave Kyle a run for her money. Lisa Vanderpump would get nasty from time to time. Even Yolanda would say some things. Okay, we even had Lisa Rinna and Eileen kind of getting spicy in the early seasons of Erica and Dorit used to get nasty. But now with this cast, it just feels so sensitive, and I'm just like, girl, nothing that was said this season was low. Like, even with Sutton's wallet comment, it was disrespectful. But I said low would have been like, yeah, girl, my wallet bigger than yours. And honestly, if you need any help, call me, because I know your husband don't pay them bills and you and your kids about to be on the side of the road. We seen the foreclosures. Get it together. I need you to worry about where your kids about to sleep in the next couple of months. Now that I would have been like, yeah, we get into a lower situation. But her just saying my wallet is bigger than yours isn't very low. On top of that, I do feel like Kyle was disrespectful towards Dorit. Like, girl, you played that lady to the left and you try to make it seem like she was some groupie and fan. So I do think she had every right to show them text messages, because at that point, Kyle was trying to play in Dorit's face and make that lady look stupid. And Dorit said, no, ma'am, not today. And she had every right to expose them text messages, because then Dorit ends up saying that I feel like Kyle got mad at me because she got chastised by Morgan. So then Andy ends up being like, yeah, why can't we talk about she who shall not be named? Like, why can't we talk about her? And like, no, Dorit ends up saying, like, we made her a household name. Like, people know who she is because she was featured on this show. And I was like, I ain't gonna lie, because I didn't know who Morgan Wade was either. But also, I don't listen to country music like that. So yeah, the only country stars I know, Reba, Dolly Parton, Carrie Underwood, Shabuzi now, and then the Tanner and the other black girls. Shouts out to Beyonce. But everybody else, I don't know who these people are. Okay, I don't know who these people are, right? And so, what's his name? I only know him because of King of the Hill. He the older white man with the braids. Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson. I think I know him because of King of the Hill, right? But pretty much, Dorit's like, we made her a household name. And then Andy chimes in and he's like, honestly, like, she's no stranger to like notoriety and fame. She was a music singer before you got with her. So then Kyle ends up saying, well, she didn't like sign up for this and she doesn't like the way people talk about her and all of that stuff. And so Andy's like, okay, but then y'all kind of doubled down on the noise and the things that people were saying about y'all when you did that music video and you basically were lovers and you almost kissed her. And he was like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, because that's the energy that it's giving. I definitely think Sutton was on something. Because when Sutton said, was there cake in the music video? I said, oh, Sutton, what are you on? What are you on, ma'am? What is you drinking? I thought that was fun. I said, oh, she definitely is like, she pretty even killed right about now. So they go back and forth. And Kyle ends up saying, I was being chipped away at and we were just gonna like do it as like, just to throw it in the hater's face. But Andy was like, don't you think that made things worse? Like, don't you think it made it worse? And at this point, it's definitely given that Kyle has an issue with the LGBTQIA community, because it's like when Garcelle said, girl, if you gay, it's okay. It's 2025. If you gay, it's okay. Now you're saying that you don't want to do anything that would embarrass your daughters. You then are now in this conversation saying that, people were chipping away at us and talking so negatively about us that we just wanted to say something, but then you don't want to address it. Like, it's giving you have a problem with that community, because you don't even have to come out and say that you're bisexual or a lesbian. Excuse me, y'all. You can say that you're queer and we move on from it. But the issue is you keep doing these things where you're in this music video basically about to kiss this girl, doing some girl's way type stuff. And now that we're questioning you about it, people are like, everyone else is the bad guy, but you're playing in people's faces. It's disrespectful and it's disingenuous. So then the conversation moves on where Andy was like, do you guys think y'all have reached a point in your relationship where y'all can't come back from it? And do you also feel like you guys have like gotten what y'all wanted out of each other so y'all could move forward? And Kyle said somewhat, and Dorit says, I definitely felt like we were working towards progress. We continue the segment with Dorit and Kyle, and this time they're talking about text message gate. And what it boils down to is Kyle's wrong, and nothing she said throughout this segment made her look good. It actually dug the hole deeper, because girl, we get confirmation that you was texting that man talking badly about Dorit. Like, in what world does that make you look good, lady? And I've seen a lot of people try to be like, well, maybe Kyle was talking to PK about his sobriety, but I feel like Kyle would have threw that out there by now. If her and PK were really talking about their sober journey or their sober lifestyle, she would have said that. And I bet you some people would be like, oh, okay, it's still kind of, but I understand. But the fact that she hasn't said that lets me know that's not what they doing. That's not what they doing. And honestly, had this been any other franchise, Kyle would have gotten a fist to the face or a drink in her face by now. If this was Atlanta, New York, or New Jersey, fist to the face. Maybe even a purse to the face. Man, we could rope in Potomac. A drink and a purse to the face. The other franchises, you definitely getting doused it in the face and getting called all types of whores and sluts for messaging these women's men. And I feel like it's messed up for you to no, you wouldn't want this to be done to you, because Andy asked Kyle this, and Kyle's like, yeah, I understand. I would be bothered by it. That's why I'm trying to tell her it's nothing, for real, for real. But girl, she's asked you several times not to do that, and you keep doing it, so you don't care. You don't care. So the conversation starts off with them doing a montage. I totally forgot about them arguing in the Viper room, to the point where Sutton was like, whoa, 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 we too close, y'all too close, y'all are too close. Girl, I am ashy. I gotta go put on lotion. I was like, oh. So we continue with, the montage. They show when Kyle went to Bose's house, and Bose was like, well, girl, she just wants you to show the text messages. And Kyle was like, she can F off about that. Then when Kyle shows the text messages at Chuck E. Cheese and reads it out loud, and not to read, but Garcelle is like, that sounds like more than just jokes and memes. And then when Kyle got hysterical at Bose's wellness event and, broke down and stormed out of her house. So then Dorita's like, you don't think that's crazy? That you told Bose to like F off and all of that stuff, and you still doing this even though I told you I wasn't comfortable with it. And Kyle was like, y'all don't understand. It's just like, we're not texting constantly. I texted you and I texted him during the separation. That's the only time. That's the only time. And so Dorita's just looking at her. We then see like never before seen footage, and Kyle pretty much like is doubling down on not telling anything or any of the information that she got from PK in their conversations to Dorit. Like nothing. And I was just like, ooh, girl. So then Andy ends up asking the ladies on stage, like, who believes that Kyle is in the right? Nobody raises their hand. But then Erica tries to like, defend Kyle by saying, like, I don't think Kyle was talking about, like, never telling Dorit anything. I think she was talking about, this environment, like the show, production, and all of that stuff. And I said, Dorit, you need to watch Erica, because Erica is definitely more of a friend to Kyle than you, because every time Kyle would say something, Erica would chime in defense of her, or she would be, like, in the amen section. So then as the conversation continues, Bose just ends up saying, my whole thing was, like, if this really was pertaining to production, like the secrets part of this conversation is what got me. And so Kyle's still trying to plead her case, but like to no avail. It's not working. So then Dorit ends up saying, you don't think it's crazy? Like that, like you don't think you broke all things of like girl code by talking to my husband? So then Kyle's like, you don't think you broke girl code when you showed my text messages to everybody? And Dorit ends up saying, by that time, I thought we weren't friends. And that's valid, because Kyle, you got up on that TV show and basically said that, no, not TV, you were on Amazon Live, because we did that in the spicy corner. And you said that that lady exaggerated y'all's friendship. So at the end of the day, y'all weren't friends, and you made her feel like she was disposable, so she disposed of you. So they go back and forth for a minute, and then Kyle tries to deflect again by throwing Sutton and Garcelle into the mix by saying, and these two right here talking about, I can't believe it, and they're saying this, and they agree with you, and they don't even like you. And I say, you cannot like somebody and still think that something that's happening to them is wrong. So Garcelle and Sutton are like, girl, why are we in this? Why are we in this? So then Bose said, I want to go on record. I said, block the man. I said, block him. You know what I'm saying? So then Erica and Kyle start getting into it, and it's getting really heated. And she was like, Kyle, like, you don't think like your response to it made it feel like there was more going on? You freaking out on me. And she was like, I was not expecting that response from you. I was expecting something different, being like, yes, me and PK speak to each other. It's just memes and joke, but you are acting hysterical, makes me think that it's something else. And I would be the same way as Dorit. So Kyle's trying to argue back and forth. Then Kyle gets upset after Dorit says she like is not really a girl's girl and she broke girl code. Then Kyle's like, I'm a girl's girl. I have sisters. I have 4 daughters. And we see how you do your sisters. We see how you do women you don't like. You're not a girl's girl, Kyle. Dorit bites back at Kyle and basically says, girl, you saying all of this, but yet you were in the confessional saying that my husband has been a better friend to you than me. 9 months ago. And they showed the confessional. And Kyle's like, because he checked up on me and did this and did that. And Dorit was just like, girl, you sound crazy. Like, are you serious, Kyle? Are you serious? So then Dorit says, I don't know whether we're friends or not. It depends on the day with you. I kind of chuckled at that. She ends up saying, when you had that breakdown at Bose's house, my only thing to do was make sure you were okay, to check up on you. Because no matter what, I did care for you at one time and we were friends. And so Kyle was like, well, I've been trying to do that with you too. And I appreciate you checking up on me. She was like, that's why I sent the text messages. Next thing you know, a crystal falls out of Kyle's hand and everyone's like, oh my gosh. And I said, girl, that crystal said you lying. That crystal dropped out your hand, said you lying, and said, get thee behind me, Satan, because I'm not going to be a part of this lie because you're lying. So everyone kind of laughs. They kind of break up the tension. And then Garcelle says, I think Dorit just wanted you to choose her, choose her side. And Dorit's like, no, I just wanted her to be honest with me. So then they segue into the hot mic. So y'all know Bose was on Bravo Hot Mic. I played the clip in one of my spicy corners. And pretty much Andy was like, well, Bose, you call Kyle a liar. And the way that Kyle looked at Bose, them eyes went. I said, ooh, Bose, you in danger. You are in danger, girl. And pretty much Kyle was like, I've never been called a liar. I wouldn't say that I'm a liar. Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, you think I'm a liar? You think I'm a liar? She got the twitching. I said, girl. And she looked at Dorit 3 times. She looked at Dorit kind of like, so this your friend? This your friend? And you could tell that Dorit was uncomfortable while they were arguing because her eyes were bugged out. It was kind of like, oh, Bose. Girl, you can't go. The energy was like, girl, you can't go against her. Her eyes were just like, and I said, yeah, girl. And I think in Dorit's mind, she's like, okay, I know I'm going to have to choose. If it ever comes down between Kyle and Bose, it's going to be Kyle. So Kyle was just like, I've never been called a liar. And Bose was like, that's my perspective. Lying by omission to me is lying. So then Garcelle pipes up and she was like, why can't you just say, yeah, I was talking a little, a little ish about your husband, about you to your husband. And Erica chimes in and she was like, but what if she wasn't? But what if she wasn't? Shut up, Erica. Shut up. And so they go back and forth for a minute. And then Kyle ends up saying the only conversations I've ever had about you was during an agency party that PK was invited to. And basically, I was telling him how we didn't get along. We were having issues. That's it. That's all. I was telling him why we weren't speaking. So then Dorit ends up saying, I really feel bad for you when you think that that man, my husband is on your side. It's very juvenile. You were talking to my husband because you were trying to get him on my side, on your side, the same way you were trying to get the ladies on your side going to Chuck E. Cheese. And she was just like, Kyle, he tells me everything. He tells me when you call him, when you do this, when you do that. He told me that you called him after Oceanside. And everyone's like, girl, what? When they had that huge argument at the table, and Kyle was like, and Andy's like, did you text him? And she was like, yes, I texted him. And everyone's like, girl, what? Bose's face was like, and Erica was like, and even Sutton was like, so Kyle was like, yeah, we text. I was just telling him because I thought he was with Mauricio that something really big happened. And I said, Kyle, the more you talk, the worse it looks. The worse it looks. So then I guess Andy got tired of the conversation because he was like, where do y'all go from here? Kyle basically says, I want to be cool with you. I want us to get into a better place because I do love you and I want you to be happy and we need each other now more than ever. And then Dorit ends up saying, I love to hear that. Maybe we can get together with no cameras, no girls, just you, just me, you, no Andy, and really figure out what's between us. And while they're talking, you see Erica smiling now that they're in a good place. And I said, Bose, you in danger. You in danger. Do I think the ladies are going to turn on Bose next season? Maybe not. But there's definitely going to come a time next season where Kyle's going to get into it with Bose and Dorit and Erica are going to have to pick, and they're going to pick Kyle. They just are. They really, and like finding out that Bose is an Aquarius and Kyle is a Capricorn, and as a Capricorn myself, Kyle is an evil Capricorn, which means she is going to be very methodical in the way that she gets Bose back, knowing that Bose is a visibly dark skinned black woman. She gonna probably make Bose look crazy. I see it now. Cause she did not like the fact that Bose called her a liar. Like when them eyes cut, and she was like, "Oh, for real?" And she started ticking. I said, "Oh, Bose, you in danger. I hope you not comfortable." I know you, and that's the thing. I know Bose has dealt with white women in corporate America, but this ain't corporate America, girl. This is reality TV, and Kyle been on this train for 14 years. You just got here, and I definitely think like they will start making you like their target with things. So you do need to be watch them hoes. You better watch. The next segment is all about the friends of. So we see Jennifer Tilly get on stage first. Love her. I really do hope she's like a one and done. Maybe another season of being a friend of, and that's it. Because I do not want these women to taint her. Okay, I don't want it. I don't want the fans to be nasty towards that lady because she just seems like a real cool, down to earth person. She's quirky, she's kooky, but like Jennifer's not putting on this is who Jennifer is. I hope she stays the same way as how Kathy has been a friend of. Girl, you stay a friend of. Don't let them trick you out your spot, okay? So she gets on the stage, they're showcasing a montage of her screaming Sutton about her relationship with Sam, the creator or one of the creators of The Simpsons. They're all talking about her laugh, her ha 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 ha. When I tell you it's such a rich laugh, it's such a rich laugh and I love it. She goes on to say the same thing that Bose said, where she was like, I'm a super fan of Housewives. And she was like, I did not know that the emotions were real. Okay, she said, I thought they was played up, but after being in it, I know they're real. So she was like, it's different being a part of the show. And Bose was like, I said the same thing. She then also says that she was just like, she didn't know how braggadocious she was. And honestly, Jennifer bragging about her pieces didn't feel that way. It just felt like she was excited to show you what she got. On top of that, she was only responding to people asking her what she had on. And because she has unique pieces of jewelry or what's it called? Jewelry, bags, clothing, all that stuff, you want to know where it's from or where she got it from. It never felt like Jennifer was just going out her way to be like, and I got this and that and that and that. It was just like, oh my God, Jennifer, where'd you get that from? I've never seen anything like that. Like, I liked the way she presented her stuff. It never came off like she was just being braggadocious or doing too much, in my opinion. So they start talking about one of the necklaces that she wore on the show, but mainly in her promo. That's like a one of a kind. And I love the fact that she says she always wanted the necklace, but when she first saw it 20 years ago, she didn't have the money for it. But now when she got richer, she got the money for it. And I think that's cool. I think that's cool. They start talking about Jennifer Tilly and her being shady on the after show, where she was like, she didn't expect PK to have that money. Now, mind you, Jennifer Tilly, that's a smart lady. She may give kooky, but she was reading on the after show. And so Jennifer already knew that like Dorit was probably going to try to chew her out. So she jumped in front of it. She says, you know what? I'm sorry. It wasn't a slight to you, Dorit, but like, I didn't even think I said anything wrong. I was just thinking out loud. And it wasn't until Garcelle said something that like, I knew I was being shady. So give me what you got. Give me your best shot. And so Dorit couldn't really say anything because Jennifer disarmed her by taking accountability. Like, yeah, girl, I messed up. I messed up. I was being shady. And so Dorit was like, I really like you. I hope you are here to stay. And I said, stay to do what? So you can mess with that lady? Stay away from her, Dorit. And she was just like, but it just felt like you joined, and then Tilly was like the dark side. She said the evil witches of the west side or whatever. And Garcelle said, girl, what? And I said, okay, girl. Okay. So we then see, what's her name? Kathy come up on there. Kathy comes and she sits down. They talk about how she ruined Sutton's fashion show. They go on to talk about how she gets information out of the girls when, Dorit was spilling her guts at the lemon squeeze party. They also talk about her being Chinese, which you not Chinese, ma'am. They go on to talk about what Erica said, like who sucks up the most to Kathy, and Erica said Garcelle and Sutton. And when I tell you, Erica has like, you can tell that Erica really does not like Garcelle or Sutton. Like you can really tell it, because when Garcelle was like, "Well, why would you say that?" She was like, "It's Watch What Happens Live. I was just being shady. Like it's not that deep." And it was like, "Okay, girl. Okay, girl. Okay." Calm down, Erica. And I just feel like the fact that Erica is still holding a grudge from like 3 seasons ago about being questioned is wild to me. It also feels like she has like some hard on for Garcelle a little bit. And I wonder if it's because Garcelle don't need this show. And like Sutton doesn't need this show. Heck, Kyle doesn't need this show. The only people who truly need this show is Dorit and Erica. Erica about to get her wages garnished, you know? And I'm just wondering if that's the reason why she got so much energy for them. Because if you think about it, Yolanda and Garcelle to me did the best with this platform as it pertains to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because Yolanda gave us Bella and Gigi Hadid, and Garcelle was able to get a deal with Lifetime, NBC, Universal. She's in that show Survival of the Thickest. She mingling with Coleman Domingo and the girl off of Euphoria, having a good time. Like I wonder if that's why. Cause I'm like, girl, why you got so much venom for them? Is it because they don't need this show? And you know you need it, and they are experiencing the life you once had, mainly Sutton, but maybe you felt like you should get opportunities. Because I was like, why you got all this feed? Especially when Erica was sitting over there giddy. Like, Kathy, you're so funny. Girl, who's sucking up now, you loser? So they then get asked about Kim, because, you know, Kim ain't doing well. You know, she was placed on a psychiatric hold for substance abuse and relapsing. And you could tell they don't know what's going on with Kim. Supposedly Kim moved down to Florida and they ain't really heard from the lady since. That's what I got from that. They say she doing good. I said, okay, she doing good. So it's Sutton segment. Honestly, y'all, why is Erica here? Why she here? Why she here? They run Sutton's package. They show us her doing the sisterhood ceremony when her and Bose had that conversation in the Viper room about weaponizing things against Dorit, when Sutton said, "Girl, you're not mad at me, you're mad at your life." And then the wallet comment. Andy ends up asking Sutton, "Why did you do the whole sisterhood thing?" And I wish Sutton would have never done that, because the way that they throw that in her face, I'm like, again, saying you're a Polly Pocket. You're not, like, shouts out to Nikki Star TV because she coined the term about Sutton, but you're a Polly Pocket trying to be friends with brats and Barbies. They're never going to see it for you, because the moment Sutton messed up, oh, and she wants to be the one to be a sisterhood, she can't lead the sisterhood, she's not the one. It's like they were never going to give you grace, because aesthetically you're not that girl to them. They don't see it for you. They don't like your personality, and they don't also like a person that looks like you has the money you do. It's just, it is what it is. Like, that's what it is. Because a lot of the anger that they have for Sutton, or the way that they treat Sutton, boils down to aesthetics. If Sutton looked like Erica Jane and was speaking the way that she was speaking to them girls, or behaving that way, the fans would go up for her and the ladies wouldn't be so harsh to her. But because Sutton gives frail, like, country bumpkin to them, because there is a hierarchy. A lot of people on the West look at the people on the East Coast, especially from the South, as bumpkins. They don't see it for her, and it's like, how dare she speak to us in the way that she does. And I'm not saying Sutton is always right for the way that she speaks. At times, I'd be like, Sutton, girl, you went too far. And the fact that you can't stand on it makes it worse. But they never give her grace. They never give that lady grace. None whatsoever. And I just wish she would have never tried to be in community or form a sisterhood relationship with none of them. At the end of the day, girls, these are not your friends. They're your co-workers. Understand that. So she ends up saying, she wanted to do the sisterhood situation because at the time the group was disjointed, and she just wanted to be like, she wanted everyone to come together. They then start talking about Bose using the word weaponize against Sutton and how she didn't like the word. And so a viewer's question was asked, and then Andy ends up asking Garcelle, "Do you think Bose was overreacting?" And Garcelle was like, "Yeah, I do think she was overreacting." And Bose was like, "What? Like, why would you say that? Like, she used those words intended to hurt." And so Sutton was like, "Well, no, I was trying to get order, because she's cussing everybody else, calling people see you next Tuesday, so I said what I said." And so Bose was like, "But there was a different way." And so to me, someone calling someone to see you next Tuesday doesn't affect me, but in the white lady community, that's like a sin. You don't call them nobody no see you next Tuesday. Okay. So Sutton was just like, "I was just trying to gain control of the room." So then the conversation moves on to Bo saying, see, this is the issue. We can't have conversations with you, Sutton, because you don't take accountability. So then Sutton ends up saying, I can say that sometimes I need to choose my words better. And Bo's is like, see, that's what I'm talking about, accountability. All while this is happening, like, what's her name? Dorit is smiling like a Cheshire cat. Like, she's like, get her, girl. And I was like, ugh. And I'm just kind of like, if I was Sutton, I would have cussed Bose out. I would have, because I'd have been like, who are you to tell me about accountability? I just met you like 3 minutes ago. Girl, shut up. Shut up. And the crazy thing is, Bose, that's going to come and bite you in the you know what if next season you run into an issue with somebody and you don't readily take accountability. And I'm telling y'all, they going to throw this in her face, especially Kyle, because Kyle's going to bring up, girl, you were going off all on Sutton and things of that nature, talking about taking accountability. And in the moment you're supposed to take accountability, you can't take it. That's hypocritical. She's gonna do that. She's gonna do that because Kyle has her eyes set on you now because you called that lady a liar. She is not gonna let that go, Bose. She's not. So they're sitting there and then they talk about how Sutton broke up Dorit's conversation when she was talking about Jagger when they were supposed to be going to Garcelle's house. And Sutton basically says, I didn't know how to break it up. Production told me to break it up and we were running behind time. So then Dorit is like, okay, you don't know how to break up a conversation? Aren't you Miss Manners? Aren't you Miss Manners? And everyone's just like, Dorit, okay, girl. And this is why I said, even though Sutton wasn't saying anything, like I said, I think she was sedated, okay, or on her anxiety medication, like Jennifer Tilly was asking, because it might be a good thing because Dorit to me started to look crazy. Like you're yelling at this lady about her interrupting you and not being respectful, but yet she's telling you she didn't know how to gauge the conversation. She was like, I didn't know what to say. On top of that, production was like, it's time to go. So what else do you want me to say? So I was annoyed because they were taking so much time on this situation. They then move over to the wallet comment. Kathy ends up saying me and Sutton had a conversation and Sutton said she wasn't proud of it. So then Garcelle said, yeah, she couldn't defend her. And then Kyle says she was grossed out. And then Erica says, yeah, it was beneath her. And then Sutton says, yeah, I can't defend myself. She also says that, Dorit, you did say and insinuate that I was an alcoholic. And so Dorit doesn't even address that. She said, all I said was all your money did was buy you a horse. And I'm like, yeah, bought her a horse that probably is worth a lot of money that you don't have. But I also feel like that's also a dig to Sutton saying you can't get a man. Like all your money did was buy you a horse. Last season you got a matchmaker and nothing happened. Like you're old and lonely. That's what Dorit was getting at. So then the conversation continues and Dorit's like, where is the Sutton? The one that was the beady eyed, the beady stares, who was mean and all of that stuff. Where is she? And Sutton is just looking at her and then Sutton smirks at her. And she was like, where's the girl? So the son's like, where's the girl who called someone to see you next Tuesday? And Dorit's like, I'm right here. And I said, okay, girl. Okay, girl. And you can tell that Bose was living for that as well. So while all of this is happening, you got Jennifer Tilly and Garcelle being like, this is horrible. Well, Jennifer Tilly said it was horrible. So then that's when Dorit basically says, unlike you, Sutton, I don't have to buy love. I don't have to buy this. I don't have to buy that. If you want love in your life, you got to lead with compassion. This is comical coming from Dorit when her tagline was like, I live in access. So you worry about wealth. And now that you don't get it, now you don't need to live that way. Girl, shut up. She get on my nerves. So then, Sutton ends up saying, who do I have to buy, honey? And then Dorit was like, there she is. There she is. And see, this is what I don't like about people like Dorit. You are saying that this lady is mean, malicious, and nasty to you. And now you're wanting her to come at you that way. So don't be mad if she like cuts you at your knees and really digs in the knife into your chest. I don't want to hear like, oh my gosh, she's mean and malicious, because the whole time she's been trying to have civil conversations with you. Also, the main road dig didn't land. It was mediocre and it didn't make any sense. I'd rather live on the main road in Bel Air than in a pre-foreclosed house in Encino. At least Sutton's house is in her name and she paid a mortgage on time. You are hoping and praying PK got money in an offshore account somewhere and it's not going to be collected by debt collector. Shut up, Dorit. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in them comments below and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.